Good afternoon, and good afternoon to everybody tuning in from all over the world. This is the voice of Camelot TV Network, and we are broadcasting live right now from the Infinity Salon. And from time to time at Camelot Castle, due to the fact, I think, that we are blessed to have had arriving here at Camelot some of the finest ideas and communications and individuals that have been known to man within the sphere of increasing man's awareness. From time to time, when you spend time here at Camelot Castle, you do stumble across some extraordinary truths and concepts, and such a thing happened this afternoon. I was working in my office upstairs in the turret of Camelot Castle. My office here at Camelot is actually in the turret that you can see in the opening of the show. And what happened was that we really had a breakthrough this afternoon, because I was looking at all the various different mechanisms of control that are being exerted on mankind and on life on this planet right now. And by control, of course, what I mean is attempts to start, change and stop life in a way that is negative. Of course, nobody minds good control. Good control is a wonderful thing. It can be great fun, actually. But when somebody tries to get you or I or anybody to do something that is non-optimum for survival, and I started to have a little think about what is it that all of us could do that would immediately prevent this control that we are being subject to at the moment, or somebody is at least, let's say, trying to subject us to it, because of course many of you that are watching are quite uncontrollable in a negative sense, and would never subject yourself to negative control. And I do have a little insight into this, which I wanted to share with you. And the insight is so simple that it may pass you by some of the time. But the insight is, in order to avoid any negative control, the only thing that one ever really needs to do is to be oneself. And if you are being who you truly are, there is no negative force in this world that can possibly harm you in any way, or could possibly have a negative effect on you. So if we take a look and we analyze the methods of, let's say, the deep state, or the methods of some of our governments, what are they trying to do? They're trying to divide us into identities. Now, by identity, you could say, well, of course, there's this big debate, vax, anti-vax, or there is black and white, or there is left and right. And these are various different identities. Perhaps some of you can name some of them, gay or straight, Chinese or Indian, vegetarian or meat eater. There are various different identities. And what that all is an attempt of somebody that truly does not have your best interests at heart to get you to take on an identity. And if you truly want to free yourself from that trap, really, the solution is to realize that these identities are identities that somebody is attempting to give you. And they really have, or not give you, so to speak, but they're seeking to enforce those identities on you. Or they're refusing you, really, to be yourself. Now, one of the reasons that people love to come to Camelot Castle is because, of course, we do welcome absolutely everybody here. And despite our preferences, which we certainly do have, we make everybody here feel completely welcome. Why? Because our goal here at Camelot Castle, the reason we bought Camelot Castle in 1999, was because we had stumbled across a fabulous technology that simply does the job of helping a person be themselves. And this great simplicity is something that came home to me very, very sharply. I was in my office and I was contemplating the state of the world. And, you could call it selfish, but I always rather enjoy every summer, and I have done for many years, going and spending a little bit of time in the south of France, in Saint-Tropez. I quite like it down there. And there's a couple of restaurants there that I particularly enjoy. And call me, a little materialistic, but I do sometimes enjoy just going down there for a few days. And what Arena and I like to do with Caspian is just hop on an aeroplane and pop down there for a couple of days. And I suddenly looked at the fact that the freedom to do that, there are tremendous attempts to curtail that freedom or to stop people from doing that at the moment. And I started to think, what have we really done to ourselves as humanity? How is it that we have allowed these controls, or these bad controls, I should say, to enter in on life? And I started to look at where I myself had, to some degree, gone into agreement with various different shadings of these controls. And I had a shock, because I realized that I myself truly do not identify with any of these controls at all. And Sarah Schofield is with us. Hello, Sarah. How are you? Jacqueline Owen says, divide and conquer is the aim of their game. You see, this is absolutely. Jacqueline Owens is with us. Joe Crossland is with us. Nobody asked to be ruled. Katie Matilda says they like to divide us and put us against each other so they can always be the common denominator. United we stand. You're absolutely right. And so Camelot Castle has its founding purpose really is to act as a catalyst to help you and others be themselves. We certainly here are not interested in anybody becoming or being anything other than that which they truly are. And the more I looked into this idea, and the more I investigated it thoroughly in my own mind, and in the minds of several people that we are connected to, I realized that the sovereign impulse to be oneself is the biggest threat to the deep state and to those people that wish to harm life in the world right now. And while campaigning against various different government policies or against various different medical interventions may be something that is needful, there's a shortcut to it all. And that shortcut is simply to reset or take a look over your own universe and decide that you are simply going to be who you have always been. And by being that, you will immediately become the greatest threat to those who wish to harm you and others. And I feel that I wanted to communicate this. As I say, I was sitting in my office about an hour ago and I understood this particular aspect of life to a whole new level of understanding. And it's a very beautiful thing when you make a breakthrough like that, because you can see that that simple concept, the idea that each and every one of us should simply be who we are. You should be who you are, and I should be who I am. And that simplicity may well be our greatest defense and a powerful weapon in ensuring that life starts to go back in the right direction. And I think if we were to all do that, and if we were to share this very simple idea. Now, Camelot, of course, is open for everybody, and you're more than welcome to come here. There's something very special occurs when people who are being themselves get together. And there's a sort of a multiplication factor. And I can't begin to tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you that are unique individuals. There is not one person listening to me now that is the same as anybody else that is listening. And of course, one of the biggest lies that the communists try to push into society is that we are all equal. No, we're not. There is not one spirit in this universe that is equal to another spirit. Each spirit has its own unique function. It has its own unique ability. And that unique ability and that unique function should be guarded, it should be protected, and each and every person and their very special beingness. Perhaps some of you out there now are thinking about something that you do better than anybody else. And if you do, that's fantastic, because that is part of who you are. That is the core of your personal beingness. And that truth is a very important truth to you. And it's also very important to all life around you. Now, as you know, one of the reasons that many people gather at Camelot Castle, a lot of artists come here because they want to reconnect to that truth that caused them to decide to be an artist. And Ted, very often they credit Ted with helping them to reconnect with their creativity. And that's a beautiful thing. As you can see from some of the art that is around me, Ted is a master when it comes to helping people connect to their beingness. Rob Coley says, so true, we are perfectly unique. See, this is the thing, Rob. This is the thing. You understand this, and I understand this. And if you look at all the communication that is coming out of the mainstream media, what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Fred pro-vax. They're trying to make Emily anti-vax. They're trying to make somebody says, Black Lives Matter, and somebody says all lives matter, and somebody says, they're trying to divide us. And then somebody comes along and says, no, we're all the same. We shouldn't divide. We're all exactly the same. Well, that's not true either, you see. So it's not that we should be divided, and it's not that we should be exactly the same. What we should be doing is we should be completely, you see, the real key to understand this is we are not all one, you see. That would be ridiculous. That would be a big smorgasbord of everybody just piled in together. No, but we should be at one with each other's individuality and sovereignty and true beingness. So there is a difference between the idea of us being all one. So you hear people say we're all one. Well, these people, whenever you hear anybody say that, they're thoroughly confused. No, we're not all one. You are you and I am me. But I am at one with the idea and with your beingness. And our goal here, and what we want to open Camelot up for, is we should be opening ourselves up for the idea that we should be encouraging each and every one of us to be themselves. So that is my little tea time chat for us all this afternoon. Gila Kaufman, wonderful to see you there. And, Roger Lyle is joining us. Life is too short to choose anything that doesn't light a fire inside your heart. Roger, you are absolutely right. Roger, just so you know, is the very, very wise and very erudite chairman of the local Tintagel Parish Council, and he is also the media baron in charge of the Tintagel Voice, which is a great, if ever you want to find out what is going on in Tintagel, the Tintagel Voice is the epicenter, and you can find that on Facebook, and I suggest you all subscribe to that. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I don't think you have to live in Tintagel to be part of the Tintagel Voice, because there's a lot of people who visit here on their holidays, for instance, who would love to keep in touch with Tintagel, and we'd love to hear what's going on and what your views are and what you feel we can do as a village to be of great service. But Roger is a wonderful guy, and he's recently been elected as chairman of the parish council. So, Emil, yes, be yourself. You see, there was this command, wasn't there? Man, know thyself. Man, know thyself. Well, that is a stepping stone to being yourself, because until you know yourself, of course, you can't be yourself. So any effort in the direction of knowing yourself and finding out about yourself and discovering, and what excited me, you see, the reason we bought Camelot Castle many, many years ago, is I had been incredibly blessed to have picked up a book in a bookstore in Los Angeles called Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health, which was an attempt, a very good attempt, and a very positive scientific approach for human beings to gain an understanding of their own mind. And it was released in 1950, May 9th, 1950. It was written by an author, L. Ron Hubbard, who founded Scientology, and he discovered exactly how to cure depression by helping a person understand themselves. So I'd read Dianetics, and I realized that although it was being fought by all those people that don't want you to be yourself, which is exactly the same people that are still fighting us today, by the way, very little has actually changed, other than more and more people are aware. There have never been more people in the world that are being themselves until now. But in 1950, L. Ron Hubbard realized that it was vital to be able to cure mental health problems. So he wrote Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health. And I had read that book. And in that book it talks about a person becoming clear, which is a gradient step, or it's part the way up the road to knowing yourself and being yourself. And so I got very interested, and I realized that this would be a vital, vital thing. And so since that time, we've actually helped hundreds of thousands of people cure themselves from depression. Now, this was my insight this afternoon. I don't know if you... Lisa King is with us. Lisa King, hello, how are you? Julie Carnell is with us. being individual, we can support each other in different ways, but in God's eyes, we are his children. Of course we are. Of course we are. So, it is so important, so important that each and every one of us, Christine Russ has very kindly put up the link for Dianetics. You can actually buy that very, very book that I bought in November 1990, and you can actually read that book, and you can click on that link and it'll tell you all about it. But my point is in very, very simple terms, and this just doesn't apply to people who have read Dianetics. The simple truth this afternoon is that if you are somebody who wants to do something about the existing status quo, one of the things that you can do is focus on that point in your life that you really felt you were more yourself than you have been at any other time, and do whatever you can to restore who you are and keep on being who you are. Don't be the identities that you have been handed over. You are not your mother. You are not your father. You are not an ex-boyfriend that was mean to you. You are not an ex-girlfriend that was kind to you. You are not any of these characters. You are yourself. And that is the most powerful thing by restoring that. Now, one of the things that you can do to restore that is take a beautiful, beautiful walk along the coastal path which goes through Tintagel. And in fact, that is what I am going to do now, because it is a lovely, beautiful, sunny afternoon in Tintagel. And the only thing I'm hoping to be able to do is get past the crumpets in the bar before I go out, because I'm still on my dear wife's diet. I'm doing pretty well with it. But I just wanted to wish you well and tell you that we love all of you, that we very much appreciate it if you can be yourself. And the interesting question, can you be more of yourself than you already are? Well, of course you can. And as we become more and more aware, and as we become more and more ourselves, we can expand and we can expand. And I suspect there's a lot more of each of us than even the most aware among us have even begun to discover. So I wish you well on that journey. I hope that this channel is going to assist you in the direction of becoming more of yourself. And I think that's what we should focus on now. Because I think, to be honest with you, we've played all these games of the different identities. I mean, the last year we've had the masked and the anti-masked, the vaxxed and the unvaxxed, the Black Lives Matter and the anti-Black Lives Matter. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And the enemy is never going to run out. Now, the new one is the anti-climate change and the pro-climate change. This is the new one, that climate lockdowns are coming and all of this. They will never run out. They will never run out of identities with which to label you. Never. This is what psychs do, is they make up, psychiatrists, they make up material identities. But the great things that exist between us all are not in the slightest bit material. Things like friendship, things like love between friends, things like just enjoying the affinity, the closeness that comes about when people of goodwill get together. These things are not material at all. And so I think if we were to focus on these things and to really not allow ourselves to be distracted too much by these identities. That's not to say that the campaigns that are running right now are not needful. They are, and they're going very well on the whole, and many, many millions of people have been waking up. If you want the meat and potatoes, do subscribe to our Telegram channel, Camelot Castle TV Network on Telegram. And we are joined My gosh, you are never going to believe who is here. London's greatest opinion former, the lady who really was the catalyst in all of this happening, Amanda Jane Eliash, everybody's favourite billionairess, the founder of the Eliash billion-dollar fortune. She, as a result of her efforts with her husband, has helped to reforest the Amazon and is doing an incredible job in terms of raising everybody's awareness. She is the one who alerted all of us yesterday to Mike Lindell's breakthrough, which, of course, many of you will now have seen if you're subscribed to our Telegram channel. And she is somebody, and I will say this about Amanda, she is always herself. She is never fake. She always says what is on her mind. She does not worry about what other people think. And by the way, for her to do that amongst the billionaire class that she operates within takes some doing, and it takes some courage. And I'm sure all of us here would like to, well, Amanda, what can I say? That's a lovely thing to say. She says, "You are so fun. I love you. You are so loyal." I think loyalty amongst friends is so priceless. So priceless, Amanda. And Lisa King, you see, you've got a fan there, says, "I love following Amanda on Instagram." Everybody should follow Amanda on Instagram. She goes, I like to follow Amanda on Instagram, and I'll tell you why I like to follow Amanda on Instagram, because I feel that I'm a billionaire, by following her Instagram feed, because she travels here, she travels there, she's all over. I think she's off to Venice soon. And, she is somebody who enjoys life to the full, and wherever she goes, she sprinkles her, what I would call it, I'm going to even come up with a word for it, her theta dust, her life-bringing dust, or her life-bringing sparkle. Sue Chippendale says, "Would love to meet Amanda, love her style." She has extraordinary style, but not only does she have style, but she inspires the style of, all that, that famous Hat fellow. She gets him going, and I don't want to say who's plagiarizing Amanda's style, but most of the top fashion designers in Paris have nicked an idea or two off of Amanda. And she is somebody who lives this idea of being yourself. And I can't begin to tell you how important it is. Of course, know thyself is one thing, but be thyself is the great command of the ages. And I'm going to go this afternoon, and I'm going to work a little bit more on that idea of being myself. And I would urge each of you to do that. Take a walk out in nature. Play with a dog. Dogs are very good at being themselves, aren't they? Dogs aren't pretending to be other people. You see, Peace Poppy says, "Be true to yourself." See, I think this is the message. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. And you can even say this. Even if somebody comes up to you, do you wear a mask? Do you get vaccinated? Do you not get vaccinated? All you have to say is you just have to say, "I'm true to myself." That's really all you have to say. And, being true to yourself, being yourself, being the full wonder and beauty that is you, is about the greatest empowerment of the Creator. And I think that it's something that we should all think about. That was my thought for this afternoon, but it's lovely to see you. As I say, I'm going for a walk because it's a lovely day, and I hope to see you all soon. Do come and say hello. If ever you are in Tintagel, and you come to Camelot, you just let them know. Sorry, I've got the hiccups. You just let them know at reception, and that you're a fan of Camelot Castle TV, and do share this broadcast. You never know what happens to truth if you spread it. As our dear friend Jesus Christ said, some seeds fall on stony ground, but some seeds fall on good ground. So be yourself, let other people know, and give them that insight too. And I think you'll find that a few of those seeds will flourish, will germinate, and we may end up with a forest of people who are being themselves.